Okay, welcome to this video. Here we have a young 17-year-old good golfer, plays high school golf, competes at good tournament level as well. We're going to follow through here. This is his first session with me, and we're going to show you what we did to get this kid from being unstuck. So basically what we have here is a common thing you'll see with teenage golfers. Their body tends to go early because they've grown up playing, trying to use their body, and then the club falls behind. It comes away from behind him here, which gets him underplaying. If he doesn't stand up to make room for the club, he would actually hit the ground behind the ball. And what that causes is a club that's swinging out to the right and requiring a lot of timing in the hands to square that club. And you can see there's a big twist over of the arms coming through and into a high follow through. So the key numbers to look at here, really, the angle of attack 6.5 positive means he's hitting up on it excessively. Club path 6.9 positive means he's swinging out to the right. And then what's also interesting is if I look at his smash factor, he's hitting it pretty close to the middle of the club. The smash factor being 1.49 tells us it was very close to center. Very high spin rate, 3,100, a little bit too high, and he only carries it 263 with that club head speed of 110. So you can see there the carry is not as far as we'd expect for someone with that kind of club head speed, and definitely his total distance is not very good because of the spin rate and the landing angle of the golf ball. Okay, so let's take a look at this from face on as well, and then we will get into some iron swings. So from face on, you can see he's a strong grip player, which is fine. It's part of the modern swing. You see a lot of strong grips out there on the tour. Again, very high club head speed here, 111, almost 112. Path consistently to the right here, 5.2. And now look at the angle of attack, 7.6 up. I mean, that's almost like where the World Long Drive guys get, except they're using maybe 4-degree drivers and a lot of other things involved in making them do that. But this one was definitely hit better, carried further, just purely because the spin rate was better. So if we look here, you can see he's super wide going back. He moves off the ball very wide. Then his arms now get way behind him here as he comes down. You can see the club is just what we call stuck. He's swinging out to the right, and a lot of the old school kind of reverse C here in his body. Not great on the back. You can see there he's really giving it the full unload, which is the modern game. So let's have a look at some iron swings. So looking at the iron swings, he's only -2 on the angle of attack, meaning he's hitting down on it just 2 degrees. Typically for a stronger player, we'd see that nearer 4 or 5 degrees down. And the big one for me here is the club path. His club path 6 degrees out to the right, and you'll see here why. Same pattern as the driver, just doesn't look as severe because the shaft's shorter, but that club is coming from underneath the plane, it's behind him, so he's swinging outwards on the ball. And we saw a lot of block shots to the right, and then the very next shot would be a hook to the left. They were his 2 misses. Very thin sounding in the strike, hitting it very low in the face, and no compression on that golf ball. Let's have a look at it from face on. So from face on, you can see this swing here, he actually zeroed the angle of attack, which is extremely shallow for an iron shot. That means he's not hitting down it. Path got further to the right, 7.6, with the club face that was close to that. So this ball would have been having some hook on it for sure. You can see here, hands almost get above his head, very high. He changes direction, that club's coming underneath. You can see that kind of hung back. Eyes stay down for way too long here. There's no release of the eyes until late into the through swing. So I'm going to pull up what changes we did, and then we'll put them side by side and see how they look. So as we were talking about his changes here, he fully understood where the club was relative to swing plane and how it related to path and down angle. So we took a little bit of speed out of his swing here just to get him to feel it, because it's obviously going to be a bit of a change from what his natural tendency has been. So what I explained to him is the way the club was going back too wide. So we had to create a little bit earlier set in his wrist to get the club setting earlier here, allowing the right arm to fold a little earlier, and that will stop it from getting overswung. So we get a much tighter backswing position here. And then as he comes down, he can now start to feel like the club gets out in front of him, and then the chest can release as the club releases around. And he's actually trying to hit that other golf ball here. This is the drill we used. We put another golf ball over here, and our goal was to come through, and we are trying to feel that we come down. He's letting the club head swing earlier, the chest's opening, and then he's trying to hit that other golf ball over there and feel like it's going to go straight to the left. Obviously it didn't. So let's bring them up side by side, and then we will take a look at how different they were, considering that this one here, the path was now -1, which is pretty close to 0 from where he was. We will see how they look. Okay, so here's the original one on the left. You can see as he goes back, the club's very wide, pointing back towards the camera. Big turn in the chest, right arm looks straight, the right wrist's pretty flat. So it causes him to get very lifted with his arms, which is the part where he overruns and tends to get his hands behind his head. So the subtle change we made was a bit earlier set. I wanted that club to feel like it got up above our line going back, rather than this one staying so far underneath. So you can see the club's already starting to swing up. Chest doesn't look as turned, and I would definitely say that his hand path hasn't gone as deep. That as the right arm is now folding, he can complete his turn by using the pivot of the core as opposed to lifting the arms up. So now what's quite funny is we've actually almost got his hands a little bit lower and deeper, and that's going to allow him to be able to get the club moving in a better way coming down. So this one here, as he changed direction with his legs, he'd go into that sit down position, the club would just naturally drop behind him, and now it's really excessively behind his right forearm. You can see the angle here. I'm going to change our color, but you can see here the angle of his wrist is back this way, so that club's really behind his right arm. What we're trying to do here with this new one is let that club get out in front of him, and as it comes down, you see how the club's kind of tracking down the swing plane. It's got a lot more in front of him there. If I can just back that up a little bit. So you can see there the club's still coming down from underneath, but nowhere near where he was previously. I'm going to get rid of our red lines. So as this one comes down here, you can see the club is getting much lower to the ground. And what I love about this new one is his chest is starting to open. The gap between his forearms is much smaller. And now as he comes into the ball, you can see he's coming much more into the back of the ball, not so much to the inside, swinging outwards on the ball. His hips have not flattened out as much as they did before. The chest now opens, and you can see how stable that club is as it swings around him. This one here swings really far away from him and is getting twisted over. And as he comes through, you'll notice the chest and the eyes start to release. This one here, the eyes have stayed down where the ball once was. As the arms release the club, by the time we see the club here, you'll see there's a much more rounded lower exit. Shaft's nice and square, but he's released his head lovely there. He's really got his head turning towards the target. So that's a fantastic move right there. And you can obviously see there's a lot of leg straightening and the arms getting twisted over to try and save that shot, whereas this one is being hit with his pivot. Really different move there from this young lad, and just he took to this in about 3 swings. So you can see how much lower the left elbow finishes in the new one. Just a massive improvement in a very short period of time. So hope you guys learnt something out of this. If you're a young golfer out there and you're getting a bit early with your body and the club's stuck, this is how to get it done. Okay, so make sure you're getting yourself into a good position at the top, because that's always going to help you transition down. But learning how to get that club out in front coming down is the art that you can then be able to rotate your body through and have a lot more stability. We took this guy from swinging 7 to the right to -1. He was swinging pretty much close to 0 angle of attack into the ball, and we got him down to about -5. Completely different sound on the golf ball, and the ball was just flying dead straight. So great job, and really enjoyed working with this young lad. So I will be seeing him again this week and looking at his progress. I don't think it's going to be long before he's lifting some major junior trophies around Florida. So if you got any comments, please put them down below. Love to hear from you. Otherwise, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of content out there, different areas of the game, and I post regularly. So let's stay in touch on the comments, and I'll speak to you guys soon.